Welcome to the Israel Daily News Podcast. I'm your host, Shanna Fold, and I'm here to get you caught up quickly. I've got some top news stories for you today from Israel, and guess what? You're listening, so you're already on top of your game. Survive and thrive, people. Knowledge is the best weapon. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025 in the Gregorian calendar and the 3rd of Tishrei in the Hebrew calendar. We just exited Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year 5786. We here at the Israel Daily News hope you had a positive experience over your holiday. Stay tuned for the end of the show with a wish from Rabbi Yossi Madvig, with some inspiration on how you can make the most out of your time between now and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Now, let's get to the news. As world leaders gather in New York to address the UN General Assembly, a wave of recognition for a Palestinian state is growing. French President Emmanuel Macron officially announced France's recognition of a Palestinian state at the UN General Assembly, stating it was in the interest of peace despite U.S. and Israeli opposition, but revealed France would hold off on opening an embassy in the proposed Palestine and a ceasefire be reached. Belgium announced recognition with unique conditions, legal recognition only after the hostages are released and Hamas is removed from governance. Luxembourg, Malta, San Marino, Andorra, and Monaco issued formal recognition statements as well. The UK, Australia, Canada, and Portugal had announced recognition earlier, while Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba stated recognition was only a question of time and warned of new measures if Israel obstructs a two-state solution any further. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responded saying that, quote, a Palestinian state will not be established, and called Western recognition an embarrassing surrender to Palestinian terrorism that will not bind Israel in any way. Netanyahu is formulating Israel's official response. When countries recognize Palestine, they are trying to formally acknowledge it as a sovereign state, which carries diplomatic and symbolic weight but does not itself create a binding legal statehood under international law. This rhetoric can strengthen international legitimacy and open doors for treaties or UN membership, but whether it happens depends on political will and true action, and of course, a sound government for Palestinians, which does not exist. So in short, these declarations at this point don't carry the ability to create any meaningful change or movement right now. Trump's 21-point plan is the first U.S. proposal he has put forward to end the Gaza war and set up a post-Hamas future. The plan calls for freeing all hostages, a permanent ceasefire, and Israel's gradual withdrawal from Gaza with a new governing body formed that excludes Hamas, but includes Palestinian representatives and security forces from Arab and Muslim states. It also outlines Arab and Muslim funding for Gaza's reconstruction and some role for the Palestinian Authority. In return, Arab leaders demanded that Israel not annex or occupy Gaza, avoid creating settlements in Gaza, stick more closely to the Al-Aqsa Mosque status quo, and allow more humanitarian aid in. This was all built on the framework written by former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Blair, who served as the British Prime Minister from 1997 to 2007, proposes to establish a post-war transitional body until authority can be handed over to the PA, also known as the Palestinian Authority, which Israel has not wanted to work with moving forward. The U.S.-backed plan was expanded to include specific war termination mechanisms. The plan requires Hamas to disarm completely, calls for Palestinian Authority governance of both Gaza and the West Bank, some call it Judea and Samaria, and envisions simultaneous release of all 48 hostages during a multi-week ceasefire. Arab and Muslim officials welcomed the plan as a serious step, some saying this was the first time they felt there's something to move forward with, and Trump plans to discuss this with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to push it forward. Thanks to Axios for giving a simple and concise breakdown of this news. Over here in Israel, authorities have closed the Jordan West Bank border crossing indefinitely, based on Netanyahu's personal orders, with reports suggesting links to the Palestinian recognition wave rather than just the recent terror attack which happened. There was a terror attack where 2 Israelis were killed in a shooting reported at that border, which is called the Allenby Crossing on the Israel-Jordan border. The attacker emerged from a humanitarian aid truck in the cargo terminal and surprised an IDF escort unit before being shot by terminal security guards. That might have something to do with the border now being closed, with no date for reopening in sight. The Palestinian Authority is formally requesting £2 trillion in reparations from the United Kingdom, citing historical grievances related to the British Mandate period and alleged damages from British colonial policies that facilitated Jewish settlement in Palestine. To clarify, on Monday, September 22nd, 2025, following the UK's recognition of Palestinian statehood on Sunday, September 21st, PA President Mahmoud Abbas called for reparations for Britain's Mandate-era policies, including the Balfour Declaration, which he said caused land loss and denied Palestinian self-determination. That's not entirely true. There were many options along the way over the span of decades where Palestinians, Arabs, they didn't necessarily call themselves Palestinians at the time, did not agree to certain land separations and borders and negotiations along the way, and the state of Israel rose out of that. There were a lot of opportunities for Palestinian self-determination that were turned down because those negotiations didn't fit the leadership at the time. The leadership wanted all, not some. The £2 trillion figure cited by advocacy groups like Britain Owes Palestine stems from historian Juan Cole's estimate of the $2.5 trillion value of Israeli real estate, used to illustrate the potential scale of reparations. From 1917 to 1948, Britain colonized Mandatory Palestine and established the British Mandate. At the same time, the 1917 Balfour Declaration expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people. At the same time, the 1917 Balfour Declaration expressed support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Following World War II and the Holocaust, Israel was reestablished as a sovereign Jewish state in 1948. Palestinians often reference this period, arguing that British policies during the Mandate contributed to their displacement, which explains current calls by the Palestinian Authority for reparations following Britain's recognition of a Palestinian state. UK Shadow Secretary of State Robert Jenrick rejected the demand as a historical nonsense, stating no taxpayer funds would be allocated to that. In UK politics, shadow means the opposition's counterpart to a government minister. So, the Shadow Secretary of State is the person in the main opposition party who monitors and challenges the government secretary, while also presenting their party's alternative policies. The Indonesian president is reiterating his unique offer to deploy 20,000 plus peacekeepers to Gaza, making Indonesia the only nation to make such a public commitment. Significantly, the president emphasized that peace requires guaranteeing Israel's security, a major departure from traditional Indonesian positions that have been highly critical of Israel. He concluded his UN speech saying the word shalom, despite Indonesia's lack of diplomatic relations with Israel, promising immediate Israeli recognition once Palestine would be recognized by Israel. Israel has said time and again they would not do that. Shalom, of course, means hello, goodbye, and peace in the Hebrew language. An Israeli surveillance drone crashed inside UN peacekeeping headquarters in Naqoura, Lebanon. UNIFIL, which is short for United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, formerly protested this as a violation of UN Resolution 1701, which deals with the border lines and Lebanese sovereignty, with the IDF confirming its ownership of the drone that entered. The incident occurred near one of the 5 Israeli posts in southern Lebanon that's been maintained since the November ceasefire. There was another major drone incident within Israel's south, and this happened on Wednesday. An explosive-laden Houthi drone from Yemen to Israel struck a Lot's shopping district, wounding 20 people, including 2 men in their 60s who were hospitalized in serious condition. The attack marked the second successful drone penetration inside Israel within a week, despite Iron Dome attempts that fired 2 missiles but failed to down the device. The IDF says the alerts went off later than they should have, and that the Air Force is working on a series of measures to strengthen detection, interception, and overall readiness. Magen David Adom Emergency Services transported victims from that event to a nearby hospital. 2 people were seriously wounded, 1 moderately, and 17 were lightly injured, most of them hit by shrapnel. The Israeli Air Defense Force dispatched helicopters to evacuate the most serious cases over to Soroka Hospital in the city of Beersheba due to Eilat's limited medical facilities down there in that southern city. Slovenia imposed a travel ban on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today, so that's Thursday. Last year, Slovenia recognized a Palestinian state and imposed an arms embargo on Israel. In July, the country banned National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich. Their reasoning cites Israel's, quote, war crimes in Gaza and accusations against Netanyahu headed by the International Court of Justice. Looking for a trusted English-speaking skin clinic in Tel Aviv? At Raviv Dermal, board-certified dermatologist Dr. Tal Raviv offers care for skin concerns, while Dr. Millie Raviv specializes in cosmetic injections, face sculpting, and therapeutic treatments that can, for example, ease jaw stress, and they work on your schedule. What's impressive is they speak multiple languages and are dedicated to serving people here in Israel. Protect your skin from the strong Israeli sun with a full-body skin cancer check, address everyday skin issues, or book Botox and fillers with confidence and peace of mind. Visit Raviv Dermal at Hakovshim 30 near the Carmel Market in Tel Aviv and mention Israel Daily News for 10% off your service. For more information, we have a full article on the IsraelDailyNews.org website and a link in our show notes with their phone number as well. You can reach them on WhatsApp. I want to thank all of you for your interest in Israeli affairs, Israeli politics, our world politics. I also want to thank all of you who personally finance and fund the Israel Daily News podcast with monthly contributions. You can support us with your contributions by going over to our website, IsraelDailyNews.org, and clicking on sponsor. The Patreon link is over there, and you can send us a monthly donation using the Patreon link. There's also an option for a one-time donation. Our organization is operational thanks to listeners and supporters like you. Thank you to Marianne Vollinger for her monthly support. In response for your contributions, I'll send over a handwritten thank you note to show my appreciation. Follow us on social media at IsraelDaily.news. We're on X, YouTube, TikTok, and on Instagram. Our page is about to hit 40,000 followers. You can also follow my personal page at Shanna Fold. My name has 2 N's in it, and I'm very sensitive about that. Archaeologists from Haifa University have uncovered a remarkable Byzantine-era treasure in the ancient city of Susita, near the Sea of Galilee in the north of Israel. The find includes 97 gold coins and fragments of elaborate earrings adorned with pearls, glass, and semi-precious stones, believed to have been hidden around 613 CE as the Persian conquest approached. Among the coins is a rare, small gold coin minted in the Byzantine-era city in Cyprus by Emperor Heraclius and his son. One of only 2 such coins have ever been found in Israel. Researchers suggest that the hoard may have belonged to a wealthy jeweler or a resident who left in a hurry, leaving behind a cloth bag filled with valuables. The discovery sheds new light on the city's history, showing that Susita had wealthy inhabitants even as it declined before its destruction in a devastating earthquake in 749 CE. I love these stories, and there happens to, unfortunately, be a lot of stories from this region of people leaving their homes suddenly and leaving their valuables hidden and stored behind. Many likely thought that they'd be returning to retrieve them. This land has never been easy to settle, and there have been many, many, many peoples to live here and to occupy this place over the course of the last few thousand years. It's very fun to find this bag of coins and find things from what's exactly 1,412 years ago. I did the math. I hope that you enjoyed that fun little piece of the past. And now for a Torah thought and message from Rabbi Yossi Madvig of Oswego, New York.
I hope everyone had a meaningful and inspirational Rosh Hashanah, a happy and sweet new year, we now find ourselves in what are called the Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, the 10 days of repentance, the days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, where we focus on turning towards God and really getting serious about our lives and about our coming year, right? During the month before Rosh Hashanah, we've been trying to rectify the past and trying to make sure, do what's called a cheshbon nefesh, right? An accounting of ourselves and where we're holding and where we've failed and where we could improve. And now that we've had Rosh Hashanah, a day of judgment, of din, where we've crowned God as our king, now we can really focus on the future and focus on how we can really do better in this year and improve on ourselves. And it's customary during this time, people will take on what's called a hidur mitzvah, doing a mitzvah in a better way. The most common one is a lot of Jews will, there's an allowance to you don't have to eat bread that's baked by a Jew. You could have bread that was made in a non-Jewish bakery. Obviously, it has to be kosher. So many people will take on this hidur of only eating what's called pat Yisrael, bread that was baked by a Jew. Some people will only have chalav Yisrael, dairy products where the milking itself was supervised by a mashgiach, by a Jewish kosher supervisor. And there are some people who do those things year round. For instance, Chabad, the custom is to have chalav Yisrael and pat Yisrael all year round. And so we look for other ways to improve our observance of Torah and mitzvot. And there are so many opportunities. We have a lot of mitzvahs. And so you can learn more Torah, give more charity. You can pray with more intention. There's so many opportunities. And I would also encourage, especially in light of recent events with the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was, despite what you might think of his political opinions, he was definitely a friend to Israel. And his main thing was going and debating issues with people that he disagreed with in a civil debate and hearing the other side and presenting his point of view and disagreeing agreeably, as he might say. And so perhaps this is something to think about if you're looking for something to do for the 10 days of repentance that could really add to coming close to God and coming close to your fellow man. This might be something you could do. If there's somebody in your life that you're at odds with, whether it's a family member or just an acquaintance that go to them and maybe do something nice for them, say something nice to them. Try and be respectful and agreeable and try to come to some kind of understanding. And there's actually a commandment in the Torah, right? When it says when you see your enemy unloading his donkey or loading his donkey, you should go help him, right? Why does it say your enemy? It should just say if you see anybody unloading their donkey, you should go help. Specifically your enemy, especially someone that you have a difficult time getting along with. You have to go out of your way and try and even if you're not going to make amends, you're certainly not going to agree on everything, that's fine. But we can live together in peace and harmony, even when we disagree about things, and we can disagree agreeably. And I just give a blessing for all of you during this time, that all of those who oppose you should not oppose you anymore. We should have peace and tranquility amongst each other and within ourselves, and with all those who seek to harm us and destroy us. Everyone should hopefully lay down their arms, and it's like it says in the Bible, where it says that they will their swords will be made into plowshares, where there'll be peace on earth, and we will all come in to this upcoming Yom Kippur all together in Jerusalem in the Holy Temple with the coming of Mashiach. Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova.
All right. Well, that is it for today's show. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Tel Aviv has a low of 26 degrees Celsius and a high of 27 degrees. That's 78 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, going up to 81 degrees for the high. We are everywhere. Don't forget to sign up to our Israel Weekly News Wrap. The Israel Weekly News Wrap is a newsletter with the top 5 stories coming out of Israel from throughout the week. And of course, with a personal note from me at the top, you can sign sign up for that at israeldailynews.org. I'll send you off with a song called Makom Prati by Idan Tamler, which in English translates to private space. Enjoy this song and have a great and productive day and an excellent weekend. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shana Tova Umetuka. Have a sweet new year, and we'll see you back here at the Israel Daily News early next week.
דרך עשן המכוניות ובין צפיפות הבניינים עד קרן שמש שתגן על התמימות ששם בפנים הזיקוקים של הילדות הפכו לזיכרון ישן אורות גדולים שנשרפו ומה נשאר לנו עכשיו? תגידי האם עדיין יש לאן לרוץ? רוצה למצוא מה